In this section, I'm going to talk about reflexive access lists. Reflexive access list is not so common, but you need to know about that. And how does this work, and what do I use this for? Whenever I want to deny any inbound connection, I apply an access list to the interface like this. For example, this one is going to deny any inbound connection, so nobody is going to be able to initiate a connection from outside to my network. This is a good thing because I am stopping any hacker from being able to reach to my network. But there is one problem. What if I want to initiate a connection from inside to outside? And for the reply, I need some traffic. But this traffic comes here and gets stuck because the access list that I have applied here is stopping this type of traffic. So basically, when I try to initiate traffic, I do not receive anything. How can I solve this? I need to enable one of the features, such as reflexive access list. With reflexive access list, I make sure that for any connection that is made from inside to outside, there is something in a state table. And this state table keeps every information for the initiated connections. So when it sees that I am sourcing a traffic, for example, from this segment of network to a server here, it writes an entry here for the source and for the destination, and for the source port and for the source destination port. Everything is here, and it creates an entry and adds it to the access list that is denying the traffic. And with that entry, it pokes a hole through this access list and lets the returning traffic pass through it and reaches to the source of that traffic. So basically, you know that when you are doing this, you need to reverse this one. So the source is going to be destination, the destination is going to be source, the destination port is here, and the source port is here. This one is a dynamic entry. And for a dynamic entry, we have a timeout, and this timeout is normally about 300 seconds or 5 minutes. And after that, this is going to time out and get deleted. I'm going to show this in a nice example. What I'm going to do is to deny all type of traffic inbound and only let ICMP traffic to go outbound. You know that for any ping that you send, you need to receive a reply. So I'm going to let a reflexive access list create an entry for the inbound replies of that echo messages. So let's go to router 2. First of all, I want to make sure that there is no access list here. So I type show access list, and there is one, no FTP download. I'm going to deny it. I'm going to delete it. So I type configuration terminal, and I'm going to type no IP access list extended no FTP download. So this is extended no FTP download, and I check running config of interface serial 10, and it says that this is applied. I'm going to remove it. So interface serial 10, no IP access group, no FTP download, inbound. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to do is to create an IP access list that denies inbound traffic. This is going to be an extended access list. Under this, I'm going to deny any traffic inbound. I do not need to add an entry because there is an implicit deny for any access list, but just for clarity, I just type deny IP any. Okay? Sometimes you write this because you want to add a login to your log services, so for example your syslog service. When you do this, you type deny IP any log, but you know that login uses CPU, so you do not normally go for that unless you know that there's a threat that you need to have some information about that. You go for that. Here I only have one thing, and it says deny IP any. What I'm going to do is to create another IP access list. This access list is outbound and it is extended, and it is outbound traffic. Okay, under this one, I am permitting ICMP from any source to any destination. And finally, again, I do not need to type this, but I just type it for clarity. Deny IP any. So if I show IP access list or show access list, both will work. You can see that the first one denies everything, the second one permits ICMP outbound but denies any other IP. Okay, now before applying this to the interface, I want to make sure that from inside I can ping outside. That's it. And I just want to make sure that from outside I can ping inside. So this means that I can initiate connection from outbound, from outside to inside. That's it. Now let's go to router 2. If I go to interface serial 10 and type IP access group deny inbound, and type IP access group outbound traffic out and hit enter. Now if I show access list, right now there is nothing here, but if I try to ping from router 1, the ping is not successful. You see that the ping does not work, although I know that ICMP traffic goes out. So let's go to router 4 and figure out the problem. If I come here and type debug ICMP to check to see if there is a message here, debug IP ICMP, that I guess that's debug IP ICMP. Now if I go to router 1 and try to ping once again, router 4 receives the traffic. That's my intention. Router 4 tries to send an echo reply to this destination. Again, this is my purpose. But router 2 stops it because there is an access list here that says no inbound traffic is allowed. Now if I try to see the access list, I can see that there are matches for this one. And of course there are matches that denies the return in traffic. How can I solve this? As I told you, I need to make sure that there is an state table that keeps track of these traffics that I have initiated. So for returning response for that traffic, the hole is going to be open. The hole is going to be poked through the firewall, and basically router 2 is working as a firewall. So it is going to let the returning traffic come, but no traffic should be initiated from outside. The unsolicited traffic is not allowed, better to say like this. So let's go and type IP AccessList outbound traffic, and here I'm going to remove line 10 and I'm going to recreate line 10 like this: permit ICMP any, but I am reflecting this to an access list that is going to be created dynamically, and I name it reflect and hit enter. That's it. Now I know that whenever there is a traffic from inside to outside, it is going to be reflected to a dynamic access list, to a reflexive access list, better to say a reflective access list, and it keeps track of the traffic. Now for the for this one, IP access list extended deny inbound, I just want to add a line. For example, line 5, that is processed before line 10, that is denying everything. I am going to evaluate reflect. This is the dynamic access list that is going to be created. I am evaluating that to make sure that there is no entry inside it. If there is an entry, I'm going to process that. If there is nothing, that's okay, and hit enter. Now let's see the access list. Show access list, and it say the first one that denies, it evaluates a dynamic access list, a reflexive access list, better to say. The second one is creating that reflexive access list. Right now you can see that there is a reflexive access list that says its name is reflect, and there is no entry under that. Let's go to router 1 and initiate the ping once again. You can see this time pings work. Ping works. So if I go to router 2 and check access list once again, I can see that there is an entry under this reflexive access list that says permit ICMP from this source that initiated the traffic to this host that is the destination of the traffic. I can see there are 10 matches here, and the time left, you can see that it is counting down from 300. 300 is the default value. You can go to global configuration mode and type IP reflexive list, and there is a timeout value that you can set from 1 second to a long time, but 300 seconds are okay for me. What about router 4? Can it initiate a connection now? With this, if I try to send a ping to this is my IP address 10.10.12.1, you can see that this is not successful. It doesn't work because sometimes we were mistakenly checking this IP address, but right now you can see that this doesn't work because the access list on router 2 doesn't let it work. So if I try to show access list once again, nothing matches here. There is no new entry in reflect, and you can see that this deny has 15 matches, and everything works just fine as I wanted.